Every October, our small preschool hosts an annual harvest day at a local pumpkin farm just outside town. It's something the kids look forward to all year: the hayrides, apple cider, scarecrow building, and, of course, picking out the perfect pumpkin to take home. As one of the teachers, I've been to that farm dozens of times. It's family-owned, a friendly, wholesome place that always feels safe. That's why I didn't think twice when one of the parents mentioned that someone new seemed to be helping out this year. The day was bright, crisp, and perfectly autumn. You could smell hay, cinnamon, and the faint sweetness of roasting corn drifting from the snack stand. Kids ran in every direction, boots crunching on leaves, laughter echoing across the fields. I was assigned to the pumpkin patch station, helping children choose pumpkins and carry them to the weighing area. That's when I first noticed him. He was a tall man, maybe mid-40s, wearing a tan jacket, jeans, and a faded baseball cap pulled low. He didn't look like a staff member, no name tag, no apron. But he moved like someone who belonged there, carrying crates of pumpkins, fixing a sign that had fallen over, even handing cider to parents. At first, I thought maybe he was a new hire. He had a calm, easy way of talking, polite but quiet. When I thanked him for helping one of the kids lift a heavy pumpkin, he smiled slightly but didn't really respond, just nodded and walked off. Nothing about him seemed wrong. Hours passed, and the day stayed busy. The kids rode the hay wagon, we did a scarecrow building contest, and parents took photos. Every time I looked around, though, I saw that same man somewhere nearby. Sometimes he'd be near the hay bales. Other times, helping a parent lift a stroller over the muddy path. Always helpful. Always watching. At one point, I noticed something strange. Every time someone tried to take a photo that he might accidentally be in, he subtly turned or stepped away. A few parents even joked about it. Guess he's camera shy. I laughed along, but something about it stuck in my head. Later in the afternoon, as we started cleaning up, one of the farm staff, a woman named Carol I'd known for years, came over and whispered, "Hey, who's that guy in the tan jacket?" I shrugged. "Isn't he one of yours?" She frowned. "No. I thought he came with your group." The way she said it made my stomach tighten. When I turned to point him out, he wasn't there. The spot near the cider stand where he'd been seconds earlier was empty. I scanned the crowd, parents chatting, kids playing, but he was gone. Still, I didn't panic. There were dozens of people around. Maybe he'd just left early. We packed up the supplies, loaded the kids onto the bus, and headed back to school. Everyone was tired but happy. It wasn't until the next morning that things took a darker turn. Our director came into the staff room holding her phone, her face pale. "Did any of you see this man yesterday?" she asked, turning her phone toward us. It was a news article, a photo of the same man in the tan jacket. The headline read, "Police search for escaped fugitive in county area." My heart started pounding. According to the article, the man had escaped from a transport vehicle 2 nights earlier. He'd been convicted of multiple violent crimes, including assault and kidnapping, and was considered extremely dangerous. The photo matched perfectly. Same cap, same tan jacket. The director called the police immediately to report that he'd been seen at the pumpkin farm. They arrived at the preschool within an hour to take statements. We told them everything: what time we saw him, what he did, how long he stayed. They confirmed that they'd already found his jacket discarded in a wooded area less than a mile from the farm. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound outside my apartment made me jump. The image of him walking among us, surrounded by laughing children, smiling parents, played in my head over and over. How easily he blended in. How calm he seemed. The next day, detectives came by again. They told us something that chilled me more than the rest. When they searched the area, they found a small temporary camp deep in the woods, just close enough to the pumpkin fields that someone could watch from a distance. There were food wrappers, a sleeping bag, and an empty cider bottle. It looked like he'd been there for days. He hadn't just wandered in. He'd been watching. Waiting. Weeks passed, and the police never caught him. Rumors spread that he'd been seen heading toward another county, that he'd changed his appearance. But nothing was ever confirmed. Halloween came and went, and we returned to our normal routines. Still, something about that day stuck with me. Sometimes, when I'm outside at dusk and the air smells like hay and smoke, I remember his face, the quiet way he moved, the way he avoided every camera. It wasn't the kind of fear that makes you scream or run. It was worse, the kind that seeps into your mind slowly, whispering, you never really know who's standing beside you. I've gone back to that farm every year since, because the kids love it and life has to go on. But I always find myself scanning the crowd, checking faces, watching for tan jackets. Last year, I saw one. Just a man standing near the fence, hands in his pockets, staring at the hayride. He didn't look dangerous, but something about the angle of his head, the stillness of his posture, it made my chest tighten. I blinked, and he was gone. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just another parent. But as we packed up and I looked out across the empty fields, the setting sun painting the sky orange and gold, I realized I was holding my breath. And for a moment, I thought I saw movement far out near the tree line, a flash of tan between the rows of pumpkins. I told myself it was just the wind. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone out there remembered that day just as clearly as I did. Someone who had once walked among us, silent and unnoticed, watching our children laugh, and smiling to himself.